and we are live. That technical difficulties to start the first one off, but we are going to be talking about the divisional matchups for the NFL playoffs. We're talking about those, going over the last couple games of the wild card playoffs. The Super Wild Card weekend has ended. We're heading on to the divisional games. That is Saturday and Sunday. We got 2 games each day, and we'll break those down a little bit here tonight, Tuesday, the 16th of January. We're going to be talking about those. My What's the Deal? We'll be talking about Josh Allen and his stutter step, which is causing a significant uproar as well. And another topic I want to go back to a previous What's the Deal, talking about the streaming numbers from the Peacock game, Chiefs and Dolphins. We'll see how those panned out as well. But we're just going to dive right into it. First round of the playoffs, wild card has ended. All the games have been played. It is now Tuesday, and we're going to look back on Monday's games real quick. Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers. Competitive game for the most part, but then Shakir of the Bills took a 8-yard in route and took it to the house to seal the deal. Bills moving on. They are advancing, and they get the Kansas City Chiefs at home. Going to be a heck of a game. That one is on Sunday. And the last game of the night was the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you all know, I picked the Buccaneers to win, and to win convincingly, and boy, did they ever. It wasn't even a close one, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't even close last evening, as the Eagles struggled in all the phases of the game, from everything from running to passing to kicking to punt, everything. They just did not live up to it. Baker Mayfield looked like a number 1 overall pick. He moved the ball up and down the field, did a very good job. Rashad White continues to look like a solid RB1 in fantasy. He is an every down back, and he makes great plays, catches the ball out of the backfield as well. And that Tampa Bay defense looks like they can give the Lions a lot of problems. Be great to see. And I mentioned the Lions because as Tampa Bay won as the 4 seed, they will be going to Detroit to face the Lions as the 3 seed. The other matchup in the NFC divisional playoff round this upcoming weekend on Saturday will be the Green Bay Packers heading out to Santa Clara, California, and to face off against the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers, one of the best teams in the NFL this season. And switching over to the AFC on Saturday, both number 1 seeds are playing. So if you like good football, check out Saturday's games. We get the Houston Texans, the 4 seed, going up against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore as the 1 seed. That'll be a great game to watch. We'll dive into those, Matt. We'll do individual matchups later on this week, probably Friday. We'll do a whole preview show. I want to do some research, look at some fun stats, and be able to give you guys a great show on Friday. I'm jumping on tonight. We're not gonna go an hour tonight. It'll be a quick little stream, but I want to make sure hopped on tonight. Missed last night, so I wanted to give some thoughts on a few things and talk about some key subjects. I want to give some updates on the coaching carousel that's about to happen, especially now that the wildcard games have ended. And just a reminder, coaches cannot be hired until after, interviews cannot be established until after the divisional series. So the divisional games will be going on this weekend, and then Monday will be the in-person interviews. Virtual interviews can be done now. So a lot of the coaches, Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris, all these other coaches who are doing those, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, if they're doing an interview, they'll be doing it virtually right now. So a lot of these that are scheduled, you can see online that I believe the Panthers had about 8 scheduled already. They're virtual interviews. Bill Belichick had his virtual interview with the Atlanta Falcons, and it was about a half hour long. So you can tell that these teams are waiting until the divisional to get these in-person interviews, to have those and be able to talk numbers and be able to confirm the fits and what makes sense for both the coach and the team. Big things coming out of there. That is the coaching carousel for now. We'll jump into that a little bit. But the big thing I really want to talk about, besides the what's the deal that we will discuss later on towards the end of the show, mentioned in a previous what's the deal, we talked about the impact of the Chiefs and Dolphins Peacock exclusive game. 23 million people watched. The outrage across social media was widespread. Nobody cares. It's football. If people want to watch football, they'll watch football. The NFL is king. They are the most dominant, best ratings, best product there is. It's reality. You don't know what's going to happen. It's unscripted, as much as everybody likes to claim that it is. It's not scripted, people. It is not. And if you want to have a great conversation with me to talk about how, it can be, it is not scripted whatsoever in any way. But 23 million people decided to descend upon Peacock's streaming platform and for this exclusive game. And it's caused quite an uproar. It really, really did. I did a what's the deal on it. I'm in favor of it because it's just another platform. I watch the games on Peacock anyway because I have Peacock. So I was able to watch the 3 games this past weekend there. So it for me, it wasn't a big deal. What this means now, though, the NFL sees the potential in this, and the owners see an additional revenue source to give, $200 million to whatever streaming network it is for it. Now, in regular ad revenue, the networks, though, they charge millions of dollars per spot. So is NBC, CBS, or Fox willing to give up, or ABC, CBS, ABC, ESPN, are they willing to give up? Yeah, they'll spend hundreds of million dollars getting the game, but they'll make hundreds of million dollars with the advertising alone from it. It's a huge opportunity for these networks to really showcase their advertising abilities, to showcase to different companies their reach and what it can do on an advertising side. That is the business nerd in me that just looks at it as this is an opportunity for businesses to go to try to stick to the traditional route. But the idea that Apple could go to the NFL and be like, we'll pay you $500 million for the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden you have to get Apple Plus. I mean, it's like $6 a month. It's an Apple. It's on most streaming services. It's not that hard to sign up for. $500 million, I think, is what Apple would pay. Amazon would pay $500 million to get it on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime has the infrastructure in place, so it'd be easier for Amazon to bid $500 million. But Apple would, and then Apple would turn around and find the best play-by-play that's available, the best color that's available, build the best pregame show, postgame show, halftime show that they could possibly do. They have infrastructure in place already for live sports with soccer and with MLB. So they do already have a little bit of an infrastructure in place. So the streaming wars are going on currently. The cable cutters aren't saving money anymore. This stuff is still as expensive. I mean, if you're cutting the cable cord and you're paying for live TV, you're still paying $200 a month. I should know I'm doing it right now. Not a fan of it, but it is what it is. Going through the Super Bowl because I want to watch the games, and then after the Super Bowl, I'll be cutting that off as well. But we like watching Get Up, and I like watching my sports shows, so we might keep it a little bit. You get great movies currently on USA is excuse me just one second. Let's see here. Where is this? I don't know where Highland is. Sorry, I am a sales manager for a media company, and I man the inbox for the sales for the company. Highland, Wisconsin. It's only an hour away. Is this? That's Cobb. Where is this? Is this Richland Center? Yeah, that's Richland Center. Okay. So I gotta forward this to Henry. I will Yep, that's Highland Alliance Club. We'll just forward that to my guy Henry. All right, so we're talking about the streaming services and the streaming platforms and what this means now that 23 million people turned out. It is the most streamed football game. It broke the record that the Cowboys and Seahawks had, which was 13 to 16 million. So they broke that record. They say everything's a record. But having now significant numbers behind it, the NFL can sit there and be like, all right, we'll do a divisional game. And we'll auction that off to the highest bidder. Now, between the networks and the NFL, that they have an agreement that it kind of floats around. Because these games, like ESPN's going to get a divisional game, I believe. Fox has one, CBS has one, and then NBC has one. So the 4 networks, they do have a divisional game. But the conference championship games are on Fox and CBS. That's just the way it's always been. And I believe it's the way it's always going to stay. And then the Super Bowl rotates. It's been on NBC before. It's on CBS this year. And it'll be on Fox. So it kind of rotates between. I don't believe ESPN will get a Super Bowl or ABC will get a Super Bowl. But those are things that we can talk about at another date as well. So this has been on my mind. I wrote an article about it for class. So I'm just really vibing on this lovely streaming wars that are continuing to go on, that are continuing to grow and advance. And first it was the forward pass, and now we have streaming services. The NFL is a leader of innovation, of inventors, of all these incredible things. Looking at this as a consumer, as a buyer of media, of streaming services, I think this is a good thing. I think this is an opportunity for additional people to get their eyes on different products. And I'm always one, like, I'm not just all, I buy a car. Buying cars, I don't care what a car is. I don't care what brand it is. I don't care if it's a Chevy, a Ford, a BMW. I don't care. Like, for me, it's like, does it work for me? Like, the car I want to get is like a Q50 or a Q60 or something. It's a larger SUV. I like SUVs for my leg. So I really don't sit there and be like, oh, I need this because I have to get a shit. My stepdad is diehard Honda. He will only purchase Hondas. Having games on streaming, yeah, it affects some individuals. I get that. But the people that they lose, they gain additional eyeballs, which is what I knew was going to happen. The target demographic, the target market was not the 80-year-olds living in the boonies trying to get this. It wasn't about them. It was the NFL and NBC and Peacock taking this opportunity to essentially say, we want to pull in a different demographic. And I got to find the exact numbers and see if they have a demographic number and see if it was females 18 to 36 that tuned in more than previously have, or if that 18 to 36 male came across and did the damage is what they needed. Always a possibility. You don't really know for sure, but it's an opportunity. And a huge opportunity is available now for the NFL to get their product to other markets as well. And with Apple, you might be able to reach a larger audience in general, not just it being on NBC, CBS, Fox, where in other countries it's on like Sky Sports, it's on like TSN. There's other networks that's on. So if you're able to put the game essentially on one network, Apple, for instance, we'll just use Apple as the example. And as long as Apple has the infrastructure in place to hold 70 million people trying to stream, that to me is the only downfall of a potential Super Bowl on Apple or Amazon Prime, is do they have the bandwidth and do they have the latency available to make it work? But man, those games on Monday, they were good games. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, Buffalo got out early, but then Pittsburgh just kept hanging around. I'm going to mention it because I want to talk about it later a lot. Josh Allen had a 52-yard touchdown run. Josh Allen is consistently among the names being talked about as the most talented, most gifted football player. Not just quarterback, but football player, because of his ability to run and his ability to run. He runs when he wants to, not because he has to. And that's the difference between him and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes had like 50 yards rushing against the Dolphins, but he did that out of necessity. He needed to do that. He didn't want to. He needed to. Josh Allen wants to run, and it's always an issue because they want him to slide and things like that. But even when he slides, he gets hit high, and there's penalties on it. So it's a huge, huge thing that I'll dive into more later. I promise you that. But that game between Pittsburgh and Buffalo, it was a very interesting game. Buffalo did exactly what they needed to, and they had Khalil Shakir step up when needed to. Diggs wasn't there the whole game. Davis was out. Primetime Gabe Davis, Mr. 3 touchdowns. He wasn't playing. Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid set a playoff record as being the first 2 tight end teammates to both score a touchdown in the first quarter of a playoff game. Props to the researchers on that one. Way to dig into the archives. Way to look up most obscure NFL records for 200, please, Ken. Really? Like, that is how far obscure we're going to go, as they set a record of only 2 teammate tight ends to score a touchdown in a playoff game in the first quarter. Yeah. Good stuff, NFL. Good stuff, researchers. Just bravo, bravo. Thank you very much. And then the evening game wasn't close. Tampa Bay versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia has been on arguably one of the worst downslides ever. I think you could pick out a mudslide in like a jungle that has done better than the slide that the Philadelphia Eagles have been on. From essentially week 13, when Nick Bosa promptly put in the media, we have the blueprint on how to beat the Eagles. They got beaten every level of the game. 4th and goal from the goal line, right? 4th and goal from the... Oh, it was a 2-point conversion, right? Yeah, it was a 2-point conversion. They went for it. Stuffed. Vita Vea is like a behemoth of a man. Number 50 for Tampa Bay is officially my new favorite player ever. Vita Vea, my goodness, that man is a round mound of beef, and he did a beefy thing. He went so beefy that Jason Kelce, after the game, retired. Vita Vea will forever live in infamy as the defensive tackle that took Jason Kelce out. I love Jason Kelce, and Jason, I love you, man. My kid's a center. He loves you. He models his game after you. If you ever see this, Mr. Kelce, much respect to you, but Vita Vea kicked your butt, bro. I'm sorry. He just kicked your butt on that brotherly shove on the 2-point conversion. And that really stifled the Eagles with anything they wanted to do. Jalen Hurts having the damaged middle finger hurt. I forgot who it was, but they were talking about like how they had Eli Manning in the pregame holding a football and kind of going through the grip on like, oh, you need your index finger, you need your thumb, you need your pinky, like going through it, but he's like, your middle finger, you don't really need it. All pregame, they were talking about, oh, Jalen Hurts is going to wear a glove. He was going to have a glove on, and he wore it all week in practice, and he's going to try to do that. He didn't even make it the first series, took the glove off, and just had to tape fingers. Jalen Hurts' pride cost him that game. I'll call him out on it. That's fine. Jalen Hurts should have wore the glove. The offense should have revolved around DeAndre Swift. They should have focused it on running the football. They played Tampa Bay in week 3 and had over 200 yards rushing. And they won. Why would you not go back to the play calling, the planning? Why would you go against what worked and got you 200 yards rushing and a win? They should have used their 3-headed monster, DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott. They should have ran that ball down Tampa Bay's throat. The play we ran in high school was called decline. And we would pick a defensive tackle, and that would be our bitch for the game. Again, kids, if you're watching, this really isn't for you. I tend to swear a little bit, and I apologize in advance. We picked out our bitch for the game. We'd be like, all right, 72, he's our bitch. So we would purposely let 72 go. And 72 would have to make a decision on the decline. Either our quarterback would be reading, focusing on the defensive tackle. If he took a step in, he handed the ball off. and we went right around him. We never touched him. He was never blocked. 72, if he was inside shoulder of me, I would step around. I would go around him and go to the second level. I'd leave him alone, and I'd be looking for a linebacker or a corner is what I would block. I was a guard, so I'd let him go, and I'd go for the middle linebacker and push the middle linebacker out of the way. I'd actually double team the linebacker with our center, and then the center would peel off and go around. That is what we did, and they needed to do that to Vita Vea, to let 50 get worn out. They needed to pick on him, let him go through, because he might have gotten back there, but if he'd get to Hurts, guess what? They're letting him go. All of a sudden, Hurts gets the ball off to DeAndre Swift, and Swift is able to get past Vea, and everything's blocked up, especially backside blocking. All of a sudden now, DeAndre Swift is getting 8-9 yards of carry on a decline play. And if he starts handing it off and Vea starts making, all of a sudden he goes to hand it off and Vea goes to tackle Swift. All of a sudden Jalen Hurts can go right behind him and run up, get 7 yards right up the middle of the field. Jalen Hurts likes to run the football, so why not get him 7 yards of crack? That's what I would do to Vita Vea because he's a big guy. Again, my new favorite player, he's a beast. He's beefy, as they would say in pro wrestling. He's a beefer. He's a beefy. But Baker Mayfield is a gunslinger. The best thing about Baker Mayfield and the best thing about Baker Mayfield's game, Troy Aikman said it on the broadcast, and I just sat, as I'm watching this, I'm like, agree. Baker Mayfield, if he has his swagger, Baker Mayfield is incredibly hard to beat because he knows you can't beat him. Baker Mayfield was the biggest villain in college football, and everybody hated him for it. I loved it. I love guys with swagger. I love guys that are going to bring who they are to the field, and Baker Mayfield did that. And what Baker Mayfield did, he hit guys that he shouldn't have been hitting. Moore had a huge touchdown. Godwin, oh, that was a beautiful. I love the Godwin touchdown. Baker's get somebody in his face, and he just throws it up. This idea, these professional athletes are just so good. They're still human. You throw the ball up, and the only one who sees it is the receiver. He's gonna do a step back. He's gonna move a little bit. The defensive back fell, slipped a little, trying to cover Godwin. And Godwin caught it and just fell back into the end zone. It's beautiful. It wasn't like you got mossed, or it wasn't like a Danny Dime. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a beautiful football play that ended the game. Philly is done. We started with 14 teams in the playoffs, 7 on each conference. We started with 14 heading into the weekend. It is now Tuesday. Super Wildcard Weekend has ended, and we are down to only 8 teams remaining. That is right. We have 8 remaining. I'm going to recap these games we have going on this weekend. Saturday, we had Houston at Baltimore, and then the Green Bay Packers heading up to Santa Clara to face the San Francisco 49ers. And then on Sunday, the Sunday games will be quite exciting. We have the Buffalo Bills hosting, for the very first time, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes going on the road for the first time. I cannot wait to dive into that later this week. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. And then super excited for the city of Detroit. They get their second home game this playoff. How important is it to win that first game and be a 3 seed? Lions did their thing. They get Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. On paper, does that look like a boxing match you want to see? Tampa Bay and Detroit. The old NFC Central. Ooh, yeah, I'm getting jacked up for that one. That's exciting. Thank you, Macho Man Randy Savage. May you rest. Exciting weekend of football. These 4 games are phenomenal. I cannot wait to watch these games this weekend. I was going to do some running around, possibly do some things, but I'm going to find me some good food. I might get me a party platter of subs, or like get like a 3-foot sub from Subway or something to just have a great weekend. Maybe I'll get some wings. I think the kid wants wings. So we're going to get wings, maybe a party. I don't know. I'm excited for these football games. Saturday is a great day of football. Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud going head to head. Top defense of Baltimore going against one of the better defenses the last few weeks, the Houston Texans. Kai Fairbaum, Justin Tucker, Nico Collins. I don't know who the best receiver is on the Ravens. Devin Singletary, Gus Bus. So much excitement for this game, divisional playoff game, Houston and Baltimore. Houston not expecting to be here. They were 3-13 last year, 3-13-1. Number two pick in the draft behind the Carolina Panthers after the Panthers traded up with the Chicago Bears. They hit a home run. They hit the ball out of the park. Houston, the Astros became a swing, and they hit home runs all the time. Jose Altuve and company, Kyle Tucker giving that home run swag to the Texans. I'm excited for that game. That's going to be a great one. But the one from Scary Movie. But wait, there's more. San Francisco 49ers against the Green Bay Packers. 90s battles, early 2000s battles. We got Colin Kaepernick, Aaron Rodgers. The kryptonite of the Packers has been the San Francisco 49ers. Harbaugh beat them. Kyle Shanahan's beat them. This is a team that the Packers cannot beat. The Packers came into AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, and faced a team that was flat. The 49ers will not come out flat. They are too good and too high of expectations for them to come out flat. Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey, will put an exclamation point on an all-pro season and showcase to the entire NFL once again why he is the best running back in the NFL. Brock Purdy will do Brock Purdy things. He might have 4 touchdowns and 400 yards. I don't know. Or he might have 2 touchdowns and 200 yards. Deebo Samuel is going to make life very complicated for the Packers. The Packers aren't going to be able to blanket Deebo or blanket Ayuk. George Kittle is an X factor. I think Green Bay let Jake Ferguson go because they knew Ferguson was going to beat him. Ferguson had 9 catches for 97 yards and 3 touchdowns. They didn't let anybody else win. CeeDee Lamb had a great game. Michael Gallup, they all had great games statistically, but all that was in garbage time and it didn't matter. It really didn't. The game was over 27-7. Heading into halftime at 27-7, game was over. It was right there. There's no way Dallas was going to come back and they got the field goal. The game was over. But now they have to go into the den, into the Niners' house, Santa Clara, California. It's going to be a beautiful game, beautiful day. Kyle Shanahan is going to do Kyle Shanahan things. He came up with the offense that Matt LaFleur is running. They're going to motion the heck out of him. They're going to utilize CMC and Deebo in the backfield. Elijah Mitchell, watch out for him. He had a very great Week 18, subbing for CMC, giving McCaffrey a couple weeks off. He finally practiced. Full participant, full pads. Christian McCaffrey is ready to go wild over the Green Bay Packers on Saturday. I'm going to dive into that a lot more. These are just my quick little preview hitters because normally I do hour and a half stream, but I want to get to my what's the deal here tonight. Get a half hour in. Not a lot of big things going on in sports other than football. There are a lot of things I want to touch on my Wisconsin Wednesday, which is tomorrow. We're talking Badgers, Packers, Brewers tomorrow. Wisconsin Wednesday, I'm going to put that in there so we can talk about those things and have a great conversation regarding those here in the great land of beer and cheese. It's Wisconsin. Sunday games. Sunday. In the NFC. Jared Goff and these Lions. The best story in pro sports right now. The Lions. This is the story that movies write. This is the scriptwriters doing their thing. There's no scriptwriters. It's not a thing. But this would be the Lions getting past the Buccaneers to get to the NFC Championship game. I'm really trying hard not to drop F-bombs. How fucking crazy would it be if the Detroit Lions beat Tampa Bay after Green Bay upsets the 49ers? So Green Bay has to go back to Detroit on the road again, which, by the way, again, This is great for Wisconsin Wednesday. Packers won a Super Bowl as a 6th seed, going on the road for 3 games to make to the playoff, make to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. The Lions, Packers, and NFC matchup for the NFC Championship, a rematch of the Thanksgiving Day game where the Packers turned their season around completely. Going into that, if the Packers lose that game to the Lions, they don't make the playoffs, even with the run they went on. But that was the game that gave Jordan Love confidence. That was the game that gave Matt LaFleur confidence in Jordan Love. That was the game where the Packers knew we can contend and we can play and we can get there. We could. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I didn't believe the Packers were going to beat the Cowboys. The Niners have lost to Cleveland, Minnesota. They've lost games that they should have won. If the Niners play their game, this isn't happening. Lions and Buccaneers. Again, the swagger of Baker Mayfield versus the cool, calm collectedness of Jared Goff. The fiery Dan Campbell versus the even-keeled Todd Bowles. These teams are mirror opposites in the emotion they play with, even though the emotion from Dan Campbell is enough emotion to power 17 Earths. And then the big game, Sunday night, the big one. Kansas City in Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes on the road for the very first time in his playoff career, because he's always been a 1, 2, or a 3 seed, so he's always get them home games. Money. Bank on this game being the best football you'll watch all season. This is a rematch of a very close game earlier in the season where Kadarius Toney lined up on the defensive side of the ball like a moron. He should have went to Jared. And Josh Allen and this Bills offense. This Bills defense that got after it against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this leads me to, I'm going to do this transition thing because I think the transition thing is kind of fun. We're going to transition. And this leads us to what's the deal? In the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday afternoon, Josh Allen went 52 yards for a touchdown that really gave the Bills a lot of momentum. On the run, he appeared to do a fake slide. After watching this play numerous times, watching the feet, watching the body language, there were a couple players in the proximity to make a play. So Josh Allen did a brake check. Y'all familiar with the brake check? You just hit the brakes real quick. Somebody goes past you, whatever it is, right? Quick brake check. He did a quick brake check, stutter step, and got going again. It was incredible football by an incredible football player at an incredible moment of the game. Josh Allen is the best football player on the planet, not named Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's the best football player. Josh Allen is the best football player, not named Christian McCaffrey. They're 1 and 1A, 1A and 1B. Either or could be whatever. But Josh Allen plays the quarterback position better than anybody on the planet Earth. In the Milky Way, in this galaxy, in this in this universe, nobody plays football in the quarterback position better than Josh Allen. He had the rushing touchdowns just like Jalen Hurts, but he isn't running from a yard in like Hurts did. He's taking things 40, 50 yards, 30 yards, 20-yard runs, 10-yard runs. Josh Allen does things with a football that nobody has done before. We can talk Cam Newton all we want, but Cam Newton didn't throw the ball the way Josh Allen throws the football. Josh Allen makes some mistakes as a gunslinger, and that's okay. I don't harp on mistakes that don't cost him games. You throw a pick the end of the first half, and it's like a punt. Or you throw a big third down, and it goes over the head, and it's like a punt. Whatever. You're saving your punter's leg. So many of those interceptions are like that. In the red zone, he scores. He has tight ends you can count on. Dawson Knox is one of the best receiving tight ends in football. Dalton Kincaid is a great compliment to Dawson Knox. Kincaid, without Knox, is a great tight end 1. Kincaid would be up there with a Laporta, a Hawkinson, a Kelsey as one of the best receiving tight ends. He just shares time with Dawson Knox. They have a running game. The Buffalo Bills have a running game in James Cook. Josh Allen doesn't have to do everything. That run was 52 yards going to the left. He saw there was a group of players, two of his receivers blocking downfield. Earlier in the game, he went for a slide and they hit him over the top. So that was obviously in his mind is like, if I slide, they're gonna go over the top of me. I might get hit in the head again. I don't want that to happen. So what does he do? He does a stutter step. A great football move. This thing was a thing of freaking beauty. The stutter step, stop and go, just like a stop and go route, right? We can call it a fake slide on stop and go route by a receiver, or a stopping out or a stopping in, where you do just get to your 8 and you just stop, quick turn in, and then you do your route, or a quick 8 turn look, and then you get the pump fake, and then you go back and then you run. It's a football move. It is a football move. It is not anything illegal. It's not anything Bush League. It's not anything beyond what it was. A football move by the best football player in this galaxy, in this universe, whatever you want to call it. That's what Josh Allen did. Josh Allen made a football play to score a touchdown in the game of football being played in a football stadium against an opposing football team. He was not playing diddlywinks or Cadillacs or whatever game you want to call it. Josh Allen was playing football on the gridiron, courtesy of the legendary George Carlin. Football versus baseball. Rest in peace, George Carlin. By the way, that is one of the best pieces of prose ever written, baseball versus football. You want to have fun with friends, listen to baseball versus football. It's fantastic. But Josh Allen was a man of the gridiron, and he made a man of the gridiron type play. A play that puts him in a position to be immortalized if the Bills are able to get past the Chiefs and get past either the Texans or the Ravens. If Josh Allen leads the Buffalo Bills to a Super Bowl, God status. The dude's already dating Haley Steinfeld, one of the most gorgeous women on the planet. The dude has buckets of money coming at him each and every week. God bless him. Josh Allen, may the Lord bless you in every way. I don't know how to do that. I'm not religious. I don't go to church. But Josh Allen, my dude, I cannot wait to watch this game on Sunday night. To watch Josh Allen go up against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to stay up. I'm going to watch that thing. I'm just going to enjoy it. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Heck of a lineup. Before we end the show, fun fact of the day. 7 out of the 8 quarterbacks remaining were drafted in the first round. I've had the conversation before. To be an elite team, you need an elite head coach and an elite quarterback. 7 out of the 8. And the 8th one is Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, who played like an MVP until the Baltimore Ravens picked him off 4 times. I'll say it again for those in the back. Elite quarterback and elite head coach gets you wins and wins you Super Bowls. One of our conversations tomorrow, we will revisit this concept. This is my concept for tomorrow. We will talk in detail about this on Wednesday. Following our Wisconsin Wednesday, our second segment of the evening will be the elite quarterback conversation and the elite head coach and how they go together. And that we will transition into a little bit more about the coaching carousel if any news has been mentioned. In my video on YouTube, check it out up here. Go to the YouTube, take a look at the video titled with Nick Saban. The new Alabama staff has already been formed. Kalen DeBoer of Washington is there. He is hiring like crazy. He brings in the head coach of South Alabama, which has had an impressive last 2 seasons, as his new defense coordinator. He kept on a few individuals from Nick Saban's staff as well. And Washington turned around and hired Jed Fish from Arizona. So, again, a coaching carousel in college moves quick. There just isn't a lot of individuals available. So when Alabama got Kalen DeBoer, Washington grabbed Jed Fish, and I don't know who Arizona grabbed because it didn't pop across my wire. They might not have grabbed anybody yet. Coaches, Wisconsin Wednesday coming up tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking all things Wisconsin sports from the Badgers, the Packers, and the Brewers. And the Bucks, we'll talk about how the Bucks are doing. We'll do our first little NBA roundtable. We'll talk about the NBA in regards to the Bucks and how the Bucks are doing within. We'll talk about how Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo have been gelling as teammates, seeing how they have formed a relationship this season and how it is going on. Dame had a big moment. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Thank you once again. I wanted to keep this one a little bit shorter tonight. I got a few other things I need to do. It's 9:45. We have done this for 40 minutes. I was about a couple minutes late today. But thank y'all for showing up and showing out. We're going to have a little bit more fun as the season rolls on. And as we get this great, lovely show, the real deal in sports, up and running. Great opportunities abound for each and every one. It's fantastic. NFL is fantastic. We will talk NFL draft. We will break down some mock drafts as we get into the draft. We'll do a mock draft day. We'll talk about next season's fantasy football. You'll be live with me and help me pick a team. We will do a live draft together. That's right. We're going to go on Yahoo and we're going to call it the Real Deal in Sports Show. And we're going to do it each and every week. We will put a draft up. And we will have the draft, the whole season be run right through here. You'll see my thoughts as a faux general manager of a football team. I got called out in class today. I didn't play ETN. He's like, oh, not a good general manager. It's like, bro, I took second in the league and I won another league. I had a pretty good fantasy football season, to be honest with you. But we're going to keep the league small, short, and sweet, and to the point. That's what we're going to do. Thank you once again. And as always, my name is Nathan Deal. I do this for fun. I'm currently in school for sports broadcasting. I want to get better at talking, engaging with the camera, engaging with the audience, and presenting material that I think makes sense. Presenting the material that is exciting for other individuals to learn about and to have great conversations regarding that material. Tonight we talked about, the quick recap, we talked about the divisional series coming up I keep saying series because it's like baseball, divisional playoff round, it's coming up. We talked about those matchups. We dove into what's the deal, and that is Josh Allen and the fake slide. It was a football move, for fucking sake. He did a stutter step and win. Mwah. Loved it. It was beautiful. I proclaimed on this show that Josh Allen is the best football player in this galaxy and in this universe. I dare you to tell me anyone's better at playing the game of football than Josh Allen. Watching him play against the Steelers, he has the cool everything. But I like to get long-winded. I'm trying not to be as long-winded, but thank you again for making The Real Deal in Sports the not most watched episodic television streaming show of all time. I think WWE Raw uses the moniker. It's the most watched episodic television show, or longest running weekly episodic television show ever. Cool. We are the most unwatched episodic television show daily ever. My name is Nathan Deal. Once again, thank you for tuning in, checking out, watching. If you're checking this out later, please drop comments. Go to the Twitch stream right here, the TRDS show. Check out the YouTube where you can check out some other videos I have posted. We repost the live streams on there as well. Any questions, comments, or concerns, hopes, ideas, thoughts, and dreams, please shoot us a shout at the Real Deal at sports@gmail.com. And on X, the TRDS show, shoot us some comments. Let's have a little fun on the X. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Until next time.